Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, guys, a motion to approve the agenda, the revised agenda.
So moved. I'll second it.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All righty, let me remind anybody that wants to address the board that's on Zoom, get in gear and get signed up. Was there anybody signed in now, Selena? No?
One on Zoom.
We have one on Zoom, all right.
Brian.
Oh, okay. How was your night going, Brian?
It is going well. Thank you for letting me join via Zoom.
You are more than welcome. Any chance we could turn it up a bit?
Try again, Brian.
Okay, so everybody can hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. Hey, I know with the revised agenda, there's not an agenda item tonight on the Boys and Girls Club lease, but I just wanted to jump on and just express thanks to the board and staff. We're continuing to push forward to get you a final copy that is ready for you to discuss and then vote on. And we were really close, but we thought it better just to kind of pull it back today, make sure that everybody gets a chance to do due diligence on it. So I'll continue to work with Matt and Deanna on that. They've been very responsive, and we'll get it figured out and get it in front of you at the next meeting is our hope.
Okay, well, hopefully it's all squared up. I would say probably the same as last time, just have your guys call our guys and let the lawyers do what they do, but.
Actually, it's Brian and I calling each other.
That's right. We're working through it and it's all good stuff. So we are very close. I appreciate all the patience you guys have shown, all the focus on this. We are excited to get this done and to get this open for the youth of Prosser. It's going to be great.
All right, good enough. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great night.
You too. All right, so was there anybody else jumped in after him? Not so much. All right, good enough. That takes us right to student reports. You gonna jump in, Bianca, or make me have Noah do it?
I'll start.
All right.
Updates on clubs at state. HOSA did go to state. There was quite a few students who got some sort of order recognition. I don't know exactly. FCCLA did go to state, except for I didn't attend or the other person. I was sick. Other person, I don't know. Only advisor went and she said it was really good. We have Try 2 is over, Try 3 starting. Scheduling for next year's classes is starting in about a week. Spring sports, those are up and running. They're doing really good. I don't know how many games have been played, but they've all played. And what else?
There were students from HOSA who are going on to internationals
Oh.
in Dallas.
Not sure.
Um,
Derek, kind of.
And yeah, there were a few groups. I think there's 4 or 5 of them. Okay, that takes it on to me. So last week, after the meeting, I gave all the board members a packet that we've been working on for the past couple of weeks regarding the implementation of a sex ed curriculum. So we've noticed that there's kind of a dichotomy between what the parents and the general community thinks is best and what the students think is best as well. So some of the things that we noticed in our discussions with students, peers, friends throughout the past couple of months is that they want to see more talk on STDs and prevention, as well as they want less discussion on abstinence. I know it's still part of the state curriculum, but they want more of a what if, not a how not to, because it's not going to solve every issue, which was highlighted in that packet. There was also, they wanted to see more discussion around women's health. There were some students who had issues come up that they didn't even know were related to anything because they didn't learn it in this in the current model that we have. There was also a few students who were grossly misinformed about their bodies. There was a freshman we talked to who didn't know what a menstrual cycle was. Which is, it's honestly ridiculous because it's happening in students as young as 4th grade. And for a freshman, that would have been about 5 years ago, and they have no information on, they just know I'm bleeding, but they don't know what it is. We also seen that there was more students who wanted a more LGBTQIA plus inclusive curriculum. They wanted to see a more diversification of the ideas that are taught than just heteronormative relationships, because those relationships do exist, they are happening, and they're happening here as well. And it's a hard fact to try and deny that. And so we had that, we went through, we found some curriculums that we felt fit into what students, our peers had prescribed, had kind of wanted, if it checked off the boxes. And then we kind of had a really detailed report about what we had. We know that Resolution 90, which was passed 2 years ago, which is now RCW 28A.300.475. It failed miserably in the county. And then using the auditor's data, we know that it failed even worse in district boundaries by about 35%, I think, which is a really big margin. But I think that if you look past what is politically wanted versus what is medically needed or what is socially needed, it's of higher importance that we provide these. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So are there any questions or any further explanation that anyone had on this?
No, I just want to say it was very well written. I was very impressed. I can also tell you that it has been pirated and taken to a nearby district and read as well. I don't know that I agree with everything that's in it, but like I promised you, you took the time to write it, I take the time to read it. So it will be looked at in the future.
Jason? Any-
No, I thought when you handed it to me last week, or I think it was last week. You guys did a good job putting it together. I'm assuming both of you worked on it. Or did you primarily work on it?
I was kind of in charge of most of the ideas, but she was providing, contributing everything. So-
And I think, that's part of what I think student reps need to do, is to bring ideas like that. And like Andy, I don't agree with everything, but I read it and it was well put together. So that's the kind of stuff that, I would expect from student reps, going forward. I do have a ton of questions. I happen to leave it at home. So I'll bring those at a later time. But I thought you guys did a really good job, so I appreciate it.
And I appreciated the time you put into it also. When you handed it to me, I'd asked you if you'd already had a conversation with Deanna Flores and with Matt about it, and you had said, yes, you'd already had a lengthy conversation with Deanna about it. And I was surprised because Deanna was like, no, I've never seen it.
No, we had a conversation with Matt's assistant, Mr. Ellis, about what a proper course of action would be, and we followed those.
Okay,
And
but
then,
I had misunderstood because when I'd asked the question, I had asked, have you shown her and have you talked to her about what you were doing? And so, but I did go through it. And I did ask Deanna to make sure that she made a copy for all of the work, because I wanted to make sure everybody had a chance to look at it. But you did spend a lot of time on it. I appreciated the work you put into it, so. good job.
Yeah, I want to commend you. It takes a lot of courage to stand up there and talk. And so as educators, we often don't, consider students in a lot of our decisions. So the first step on that is advocacy, which we're seeing. And then the second step will be inclusion in the decision-making and in those curriculum committees. And so, yeah, as Noah said, we'd worked together to kind of go through the proper channels in order to have a voice and create that voice in an appropriate setting, and to bring it to the board in this setting. So, yeah, you demonstrated just outstanding student leadership, for both individually and for your peers. And so, great job. I'm always so impressed on how articulate you guys are. Yeah, you're gonna be very, articulate adults, and you're like, yeah, these mini adults right now, so.
Knowledge is power.
That's right. And thank you for the time and effort.
And so when anything that really to do with curriculum adoption ultimately is is on my shoulders, and I don't make all the decisions, committees make the decisions. And then, make recommendations, and the board ultimately adopts or doesn't adopt. I've been working, if we went through and did a lot of work this summer, but ultimately in the end, it was very hard for our educators to say, I only use this curriculum, or I only use that curriculum, because they use all the resources they think they need to support what students need as far as learning. So they're actually still in the process of putting that together, because it isn't going to be probably a particular curriculum that comes for recommendation. Curriculums will be used as resources, but they're still working on it. They have your teachers are in tune to what their students need. They really do try to help you with what you need, but then they also do have their boundaries and limitations of what they're able to do. So hopefully Mrs. Esparza from the middle school has some parts still to finish. She's going to be working on that next week. And then I'm hoping after spring break, I actually have a meeting already on my schedule that I need to send out. And I'm going to bring the committee back together, and you're both welcome to come to that. So I will invite you to that as well. Okay.
Yep, that was actually kind of just bouncing back off that. I did have a discussion with one of the health teachers here at the school, and they said that they feel at times like they have their hands tied behind their backs with a blindfold over their head, because they don't know what they can and can't talk about, whether that's it's not stated in one of the resources, or if it's just something that's not, I guess, politically in line with what the community feels. But it's something that they want to talk about. They feel like they have to gloss over many things. And I think that's really telling, because it's coming from someone who teaches it for a living.
Yeah, after this, by the end of the year, we'll only have one teacher still here, and the others are moving on. So, but I do think that it is challenging for them. And because of the political atmosphere, it's also, put a lot of stress on them. Because they're trying to do what's right and what they think is best for their students, but they feel, and they aren't going out and doing crazy things. They're trying to teach kids what they think the kids need to know and what they're being asked to teach. But it is really challenging, and that's one of the reasons it's taken such a long time this year, is because of some of that, and them wanting to be sure that they're not doing something wrong or presenting something that isn't accurate. And that's why we finally just got to the point that they're writing their own lessons and preparing. There'll be binders that are for each grade level. And it's very little for the elementary and a little bit more for middle school, and it's a lot for high school. So yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm sure your teacher appreciates that as well.
That's about all I had, unless there are any more questions or anything.
Good job.
Thank you. All right, that leads us to consent items. Entertain a motion to approve the consent items.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of approving the consent items, please say aye.
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 Aye. Leads us to action items. And right off the bat, we have vouchers. Entertain a motion to approve the vouchers as presented.
Make a motion to approve the vouchers as presented.
I'll go ahead and second that.
We got a first, got a second. Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but more of a comment. I don't know what's different with this, Amy, but there was a lot more detail in the detail portion, which really clarified a pile of questions. So I appreciate even, even a couple words, takes a question away. So I really appreciate however this worked out.
We changed our.
Okay, just the added detail, just help me out, so I appreciate that.
I did have one comment on that. I was reading through and I found it a little. I don't know if it was disheartening or just kind of funny, but one of the teachers on here had. As the description on the invoice, for tools that work, which was just a little. Strange.
It's actually tools at work. I think maybe it was,
Must have been, yeah.
yeah, maybe it's just a typo, but it's just the name of a training. The ESD named the training. We didn't.
So what you're saying is no more Harbor Freight.
No, of course not.
Okay.
Try
Try not to pull it by tools that don't work.
Is this our last payment to Stepping Stones?
I can get back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
I thought it was an ongoing expense.
Okay.
Any others? All right, all in favor of approving the vouchers, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Then we jump to prom 2023. Oh, here we go.
Be right in front of them. Oh, okay, so I'm Karen Grinendale in this photo, and we are.
I am the junior class president. Planning prom with Miss Gronendale.
So prom will be April 21st, which is about a month away.
It's on a conference Friday.
Did you guys all get the packet? Okay. So we are asking for approval of the venue, which is Blank Slate. And the DJ Alex
He's the one from Winter Ball.
and Mama's Java. Mama Java's.
Mama Java's coffee stand.
And then 360-degree photo booth. So those are the four items that we want approved.
So I'm curious, being as how it's been in town for the last few years, why was the move to Benton City? Indoors versus outdoors or?
It was cheaper. We have it for 500 is what we got it for, so it was pretty good. And also, we felt that the ones in Prosser were a little like, they had been used before, like in the past 2 years, so we just wanted to like have it open to a new venue and to have like a different experience for your prom, for like not to be in the same venues every time. So,
Fair enough.
and it's half indoor, half outdoor.
Looks like a nice venue too.
It is, yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, it is new.
Fair enough.
So my comment was that on being out of town as well.
Yeah.
'Cause I think we always need to have the mindset, our taxpayers, we ask to pass a levy and support it. Our business owners, the communities always ask to sponsor and support sports events and fundraisers. So I think it's so critical that every decision, if we can have an event in town, if we can buy something in town and support the community that supports the school, that should always be a priority when making this. decision.
Yes.
I hope you have a great prom. I hope it's wonderful, but I hope going forward, it's keep it in town, support the people that are supporting the school.
Good point.
Not to mention, we have a huge new school that would be awesome.
Yeah. We thought it'd be nice to get away from school for.
Yeah.
I guess I don't spend 24/7 here, so it doesn't bug me quite.
Yeah.
I get it. Any other questions or comments? All right, guess I'd entertain a motion to approve the 4 contracts for prom 2023.
So much.
Second,
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And so the next thing is we're looking for chaperones.
Yes, so if you know anybody.
That could go horribly wrong in my case. My wife calls me a giant adolescent now, so. All right, next on the list will be the Whitstrand Archery out-of-state travel request.
Thank you for having us. So we're back again because we had our tournament on last Saturday. And we had 23 kids shooting, from our school shooting at the bullseye, and we had 18 shooting 3D. But we had about 280 archers from the east side participate in our state tournament.
West side too.
Yeah. And so we had a student, a 5th grade child, a Chelsea Darmeyer. She took 2nd place in bullseye and 2nd place in 3D. And so we are requesting an out-of-state travel request to travel to Sandy, Utah. It would be April 27th and 28th. She would be shooting. And so we would like to be gone that Thursday and Friday for our substitutes to be able to travel with her. Her parents will be traveling with her as well. And so we will be staying at a hotel Thursday night and Friday night, and then flying back Saturday. So we're asking for your support on that. And any kind of district support that we can get. We are going to try to do fundraising. One example might be to get a bow and then have a raffle for that. Chelsea's already talked about trying to sell some of her art if she can. The newspaper has said that they would be willing to help us with some fundraising. And so they've asked us if they can get donations. And I know there's been a question about that before. So I was wondering if we could be putting that money into an account for that and to have some fundraising.
Well, the account question should go that way,
there's already an account established for archery.
but I would be happy to look at any art she's got for sale,
Thank you.
so.
In the past, and Matt or Amy might, I believe that the school district has also been able to help.
Yeah.
We have.
Support some of the travel for the participation, and I would like to see if we could look into that.
I think historically it's been, I think it was established as $1,000 from the district for support. At least it was,
That is
yeah.
the thing for this.
That was for supplies and things. I don't know if that was for the travel part.
I thought that was for the event, if you were able to, if students were qualified, but.
If we could look into it and see what.
We do have
we've done.
$1,000 allocated out of the general fund, so like levy dollars, and that can go to it, and then any fundraising would go through ASB. There is an archery account in ASB as well, so there's 2 different funds that would support.
So dumb question, if you guys put on a tournament like wrestling puts on tournaments, I mean, it's a huge fundraiser for them. Is that something you guys would be interested in doing once a year? If a kid goes, there's a pot of money sitting there already?
So this tournament, we did raise money through the tournament and we have to pay expenses, but we do have a profit from it. And it sounds like they want us to do it again. That's what it sounds like.
Cause I'm sure you could rustle up some volunteers just in this room to make your life easier.
We had so many community volunteers jump in and help us, and you guys wouldn't have believed Whitstrand, the teachers and paras and parents, and it was amazing how much time they put in. Kevin Gilman was there till the end. Kurt, the Bogley, right? He was the security person. He was there. We were there till Friday night till 10, Saturday night till 9. And both of them were there the whole way through. They were so supportive, and Whitstrand did Prosser proud. I mean, the way they,
Now, did you guys have it at the old high school?
yes, yeah.
Would it help if it moved to a bigger venue?
We need the 2 gyms,
Yeah.
so that's,
I guess
Yeah.
it's about the same amount.
So next year, who knows what, who knows what goes on with the old high school, but there were so many people there. When you have 280 kids and then you have their families there and their coaches there, I don't know how many people went through that venue.
and speaking
Yeah.
of business, I was in
Yeah.
business and people were saying that they stayed open a couple
Yeah.
hours later even because so many people were
Yeah.
coming through. So
It was busy downtown all day
Yeah.
Saturday. but-
Yeah.
it was really exciting to see the whole community come together. Like she said, we had so much help from our school people. We had the high school,
Yes, high school kids.
yeah, Angela
Yes.
Skeen and Riley Maddox helped get us some volunteers from them too.
Yeah.
So it took a community, but
Yeah.
it took a lot to get it going. So
I know you guys have done an amazing job with the program, so.
So the question always comes up, and I'm not sure how it'd work. How do we get it into the middle school and high school? I mean, that's always, what we're asked, because our 4th and 5th graders, they're truly excelling and then they're done. So, and I know I work at the middle school and I know it's complicated, but it would just be a great thing to get it moving through our district. If you guys could have seen Clarkston School District, I think they had 150 kids there. From elementary through middle school and high school. And they were amazing. Clarkston, shout out to Clarkston. I mean, they stayed and helped us clean our gyms and everything. But the program that they have, it's amazing.
I imagine it'd be just like
Yeah.
any of the
No,
clubs
4
we
through
have.
12, 4 through 12, yeah.
Well, are you routing some of it through PE? Is there exposure through PE before?
yeah, we have to have it 10 hours in curriculum taught in the PE or the daytime program. I mean,
Yeah.
they can do it through a health program, they can do it through science, they can do it through some things, through other classes. But so I had to have 10 hours of instruction time through the day before I could even do after school program.
Yeah, so it would look like a PE unit and then you would support it with the extracurricular activity.
Mhm,
um,
yeah.
And then just build it out from, it'd start with middle school and then, or maybe even all elementaries. And then middle school and then high school.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, it starts at 4th grade and 5th grade and then it goes above that.
Brian has something.
I was just gonna ask that you asked it, but do all elementaries do this or is it just Whitstrand?
No,
Just Whitstrand.
there've been unique programs in Prosser that, for instance, Heights always did like juggling and unicycles and then dazzlers. Yeah, the dazzlers.
Shout out to Tara, she's a dazzler.
Yeah, there.
Wendy, how long have you ladies been doing this program?
Since 2018, is it?
No.
2018, about?
A long time.
That's been a while.
Oh, yeah, tournaments, I guess, 2018, but we've been doing it prior to that, probably 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With always that hope that someday you could expand it.
yeah.
Well,
Going to the first tournament was our first hope and now we're to this, so it's
Right.
like,
The,
wow.
the cool thing is that it puts the district on the map nationally for something. And so just like Whoosh and some of these National History Day, some of those things, we get students that get to compete on it at a kind of national platform. Which is not every day that you get to say that you did that for a kid as a district. And so that's a really neat opportunity. And
This is our 5th child now,
yeah,
first girl, fifth student that
Nice.
gets to go.
So I could probably find some grant money for you guys if the middle school and the high school is going to expand to buy equipment.
Well, the beauty of this is when we got trained, if you go through the NASP program, that's how we got it. I mean, we had our own grant that we brought all the equipment ourselves to the program. So they give you the targets, they give you arrows, they give you bows, everything came with our package, the curtain,
So it would be the cost of training staff.
even that was on us. I
Okay,
mean,
so we
did
got,
that through grant.
we got certified and that's how we started. So we went to an outdoor education program school. And that's how we got certified. And they actually offer that periodically through the year, different places around the state. So if you get instructors certified, then you can apply for grant money through NASP, National Archery in the School Program. And you're not putting out much money for the equipment. You just have to find people in your schools that are willing to teach the program. Like it works really well with Wendy because she can do it in the PE program. So basically all her fourth graders and all her fifth graders have to have the 10 hours of experience. And then you can offer it to the students that want to do the archery team program after school.
So Safari Club International sponsored us to go take our training. And so they have been giving back to us too. They've come and helped us at the tournament. They've helped us buy equipment. So there are those liaisons that you have around the community that
Finding
you work
people
with.
that are interested in doing it. It sounds
Yeah.
like a challenge.
Yeah.
So this might sound like an incredibly stupid question, but were either one of you guys good at archery when you started?
No, not, we had no idea we were gonna get certified. We went to this program, it was in Wyoming, and that was part of it. We had no idea. And we got certified and then found out the information about bringing it to our own school and
Yeah, it was just one portion of it was an outdoor education training, so it was like 1 hour training a day or something throughout the whole week, and so we just kept doing it and. Yeah, and then when I found out that archery wasn't even on the list of top 100 in the insurance, we thought, we've got a chance at this. So we came back and put a ball on the table and said, what did you do during the summer? We put the ball on the table and Shelley Hatch said, let's do it. So. yeah.
So it's one of the safest sports you can do at a school because the rules and the safety around it are so like stringent. Everything you do, the kids are so good about it. They know.
And I had one of my boys injure his finger in my class the day before archery. And I said, oh, well, that's your pinky. You don't use that, so you can still do it. So you can do it with a broken leg. You can do it a lot of ways.
Well, guys, motion to approve the out-of-state travel.
I make a motion to approve the Withstrand Archery out-of-state travel request as
Second.
presented.
Second.
So does that include support for us to be out of our
Yeah,
classrooms? Okay.
I think that's what.
the line item that usually came out of was that the school board had their own like line item and budget for a
Okay.
while,
Okay.
which included professional development, travel. It paid for the audit typically. So that was usually the area that it came out of, but we'll try and support you as much as we can.
Okay.
We can talk about what that, what that looks like and yeah, how we work together to put those funds to.
And going forward, we are very interested in being involved and getting it, more active in the district.
Well, the fact that we have a couple new health teachers coming in, you guys can harass them and get them to start teaching it and
That-
Well,
keep going.
I think that there's a bridge there with community members as well. So those people who like to bow hunt or who are just interested in archery, period.
Mhm.
And who are looking for something to do with their child. I know that the Cub Scouts used to do, archery as part of their camp and things like that, but I think that there's some natural, I guess, pathways and bridges to build ties with our parents and bring them in and have them experience it as well.
I'll cover the subcost of Title IV.
Well, we'll approve what's in front of us and if more things come up, just
I'm just gonna add, we have a class called, I just say
Lifetime
Lifetime
Sports.
Sports. So Lifetime Sports that we just started this year,
Okay,
and I think that'd be a great time.
Be awesome.
So, I don't know, I'll send you guys an email here, and try to get some information.
that'd be great.
all right, guys, all in favor of approving the archery out-of-state travel request, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There you go. You're on your
Thank
way.
you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much. We really appreciate your support, everybody.
We appreciate what you guys do.
We'll come back after and ask you for the next.
I hope, you know what, I hope you find yourself asking for 4 or 5 kids next year.
I have high hopes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That would be the best problem to have, not enough room or. All right. So next is the Yakima Cares. Oh, I just looked at it. Where did I lose it at? There we go. Yakima Cares grant from Legends Casino.
So this one is for band. It's more of a formality because it's over $2,000. So if the board approves the submission of the grant, then once we get it, we would automatically accept the dollars and we wouldn't bring it back to the board. So some of these have come on the back end when we actually received the money, but we're trying to get them in advance. The request to submit the grant, so.
Any questions, guys?
No, I move to approve the grant application and the subsequent donation from Legends Casino.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Out-of-state travel, open sci ed, high school curriculum launch, May 2023.
So Jason Kirk is here. Over the last several years, we've been looking for viable options for quality high school science curriculum. We have not adopted any new science curriculum in 20 or more years.
Quite some time. I think my my last textbooks in my classroom are 2005. So it's been a bit.
It's been a while, but it is high school science curriculum, like high school math curriculum, is very challenging to develop. So it takes time. So when you might see 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 elementary curriculums that come on that match standards, you start to see 1 or 2 middle school and then like no high school, no high school, no high school. So he's been participating in open science ed as a curriculum. He's been participating in a kind of a trial.
Field test is what it's called. So essentially, it's an open curriculum. So it's open source. So all of their documents are out and free and publicly available. And the idea is it's a very inquiry-based program focused on building the scientific mind of how to ask questions and things like that. And we're exploring it as like one possible option. Currently through Ed Reports, there's really 2 that are kind of on the table as meeting those hitting green marks on ratings for curriculum. There's the Open Sci Ed, and then there's another one which is behind a paywall. That one costs money. So they reached out and wanted me to participate in this field test. So I've received some materials and I've taught 2 sections so far.
This is for physics.
For physics, yeah. I have participated in 3 trainings over at the Puget Sound ESD so far, and I've if nothing else been able to come away with a great deal of information and make some great connections with other science teachers, and it's been a really eye-opening experience. I'm planning on implementing more Open Sci Ed in physics and trying to kind of explore that a little bit deeper. Now, where this comes in is I was reached out to, let me pull up my little notes here, by Johanna Brown, who is the Associate Director of Secondary Science with the OSPI. And she's basically, I was selected as one of 6 science teachers in the state of Washington to represent Washington for their curriculum launch for this coming year. The event is going to be hosted in Denver. And basically it'll be kind of a week-long training session where we go in depth. The people who wrote the curriculum will be there. So I'll really get into like how the sausage is made and ask those like hard-hitting questions to those people where it's like, okay, you wrote this, so tell me why did you write it this way? Which is the part that I'm really like excited about. Now, fortunately, they also are going to cover travel, lodging, meal per diem, and substitute costs for that time period. So the district is not out of pocket for that. It's just about arranging a sub who can cover for that amount of time. And I've already been working with the building secretaries in order to ensure that I have a sub that I can work with directly to make sure that my lesson plans are well laid out and ready to go for them. So it's as smooth as of a process as possible.
I think Jason's participation in, because there's quite a few teachers that are participating.
It is, yeah, the whole, like from around the whole
a lot of
nation.
people,
Yeah.
Because all high schools are looking for quality science curriculum. So the fact that he was selected, 1 of 6, I think that's pretty cool. And the fact that they'll pay for it all.
Yeah, yeah. And they're really committed to trying to get people on board with it. They've been pushing really hard. And I mean, I appreciate just kind of the amount of rigor and the amount of like work that they're putting into it. I think it's really admirable and I think it's exciting.
Any other questions?
How many tries of physics do you teach?
Right now, I'm only teaching 2 trimesters of physics because we are interest-based and we're trying to get more. I mean, we have, this might be spoilers for a future board meeting, but we've been in conversation about maybe trying to build up a science club of some kind, trying to get more interest in general. I'm hoping, like you mentioned NHD earlier, maybe trying to get more like science fair, engineering design challenges, things like that, reaching out to PNNL and getting more of that like tie-in with, we have Hanford, we have all these resources local that we're not really utilizing at the moment. And I'd like to see that happening more so. So
Be great.
yeah, we're hoping that, and I guess this is the other part about this curriculum, which we'll see how it goes as I test it out more, but it has more of a lower floor, but a higher ceiling for exploration, where students can come in and share ideas about sciences without having a lot of like pre-existing knowledge necessarily. Everyone can share ideas of like why something might happen, and then we explore those ideas further. And then those kids who really want to dive in deep and like really pursue that, they have that opportunity. So
When is the training?
I believe it is the first week of May 2 through 5th. And they'd be flying me out and putting me up in DoubleTree in Denver.
Sounds pretty fancy.
I mean,
All the cookies and
I
coffee.
mean, if you guys want to be science teachers, we can arrange something. That's an option. I think we have an opening coming up.
Sounds like a pretty terrific opportunity.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
I'm excited that he was selected because we have another teacher that was doing some work with it. That teacher is retiring. We have a teacher, we've had a teacher that's been out with some, on some leave and stuff. So hopefully with her back, maybe she'll be able to try some of other content aside from physics. Because Jason teaches math the rest of the day.
I do, yeah. It does come with the opportunity for being trained as a trainer for this as well. So there might be an opportunity of hosting some sort of training locally, something like that, getting in touch with them and having something for the east side of the state, because most of it's been in Seattle. Yeah.
One move to approve out-of-state travel for the Open SciEd High School Curriculum Launch.
I'll second that.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, thank you for your time.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Learn a lot. Eat lots of cookies. All right, guys, next on the list is the football out-of-state travel.
Well, that's a hard act to follow. Jeez. Thanks a lot, Mr. Krug. Okay, so I am here to ask for a request to travel out of state for boys football camp. That happens pretty much every year on the same weekend. We were hopeful that school would end on the 9th, graduation 10th, and then they would leave. I think those were the days. That Friday and then Saturday, then traditionally the football team would leave on that Sunday and go until I think Wednesday. Because of the delays with the snow and the weather, our school year was extended a day and a half. So now that puts us, the football team and staff, missing that last day and a half of school. So we're asking for permission to please travel to this opportunity for these kids to go to team camp. That's been happening for quite some time, for them to please go to that. All expenses will be paid by, the athletes will help pay their own way. They'll have their own way down. There's no expense to the district. And
Actually, Casey,
Make-
biggest concern was the parents are driving everybody this year.
They've done that.
They did that last year.
Yep.
Did they last year too?
Yep.
I guess it's been a couple years since I went.
Yep.
Fair enough.
So they would, you're just asking.
For permission to go to the, to
The
camp
last
out
day
of
and a
state,
half.
yeah. And then because of the snow days added on would mean they would be missing school as well. So able to do that. It is a great opportunity for our kids. I know they look forward to it. It's, I know there'll be a request, pardon?
Said Boise's a good camp.
It is, and we've, had good experiences there and positive. I know that basketball last year, boys went to Seaside and girls went somewhere out of state, and Toby just got me his request that I'll have for next board meeting. I'm not sure what the girls' plan is for summer yet, so.
All right, guys, any other
Questions?
questions?
No, I moved it. We approved the out-of-state travel request for football camp.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys, all in favor of approving the out-of-state travel request for football, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh, you. I was gonna run out of here real quick. Nobody was calling for the. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And I know the team will appreciate it too. So thank you.
Jason.
In the mood a little bit.
Stage.
All right, next on the list, New Prosser High School courses approved by the District Instructional Materials Committee.
So we saw these courses at a previous meeting. We had those on for information, so it's an opportunity to approve those courses. So that kids can request them in their schedule. Which is coming up very soon.
Is everything funded?
Everything on here except the math and world language is CTE funded.
Okay.
And the math and world language, since the math is a college and a high school course, I can support that. For curriculum, and then the world language, I don't think there's a difference. There's no course materials that are.
No, I'm the one who wrote it, and I looked through a bunch of different materials and I would hodgepodge things because our Hispanic kids really need work with reading and writing. They're fluent verbally, but the reading and writing, I would love for them to all get the seal of biliteracy, and they could do that with guidance and help with their reading and writing.
More like a Spanish language arts.
It is exactly that, because they can communicate verbally.
Did it fill any new position?
Not for this. No. Well, yes, the sports medicine, but Rick has a plan to fund that.
Okay.
Fully fund that. Not, we talked previously about a half and half. As long as he has 40 students enrolled, he can fully fund that. The only cost we would have would be like game supervision, which we pay anyway for the trainer to be at games. So it's a win-win.
So what's the position called? Is it athletic trainer?
It would be, it's a teacher, but there also would be the trainer. So they're teaching the training classes and teaching those medical courses that are on the list. So we're the only school in our league that doesn't have a trainer. And we initially thought we would have to pay for half, but Rick said, no, if he gets 40 FTE, he can fund the whole thing. Okay.
Would these classes qualify like the students that are in these classes to be kind of like a quasi trainer when we have multiple sporting events?
After they probably not without supervision. They would have to have supervision. And they have to have the intro class first, so it'll take a little bit of time to build up to that. But we working side by side with the trainer, they would not be independent.
Cause I know like,
If there's too much liability.
maybe not anymore, it might give my age away, but we used to have where the students that took part in this, they could tape ankles and wrap wrists and all that.
Still be the case.
They would still
Okay, they
do
could
it.
still
They
be
can
part
do
of
the
that.
prevention side
Yeah.
of this, with the help of their teacher, tape ankles, tape knees, tape wrists, all that kind of stuff. If there's athletic injuries on the field, out in the court, then that requires.
Yeah, so the prevention part. And it will be, this teacher too will become our concussion specialist, which is a huge deal. We don't have one and we really, really need one. So they would be in charge of that.
I think it's great.
One teacher, we can get like a college student to do like an internship with us, so we could get like a second position without. That it just opens doors by having somebody who's like.
One thing we might want to entertain is doing something more like a coaching stipend for the athletic trainer than dealing with hourly this or supervisor fee, that kind of treat it more like a coach.
So Rick and I were just talking about this today, and I know that he's been reaching out to other schools and trying to find their models. There are a lot of there's a lot of variety with how schools fund this. But that is the most popular, athletic trainer stipend for each of the 3 seasons. So
And
there's a
then
certain number of
they're
hours
every
that's-
day after school.
Yeah, there's a certain number of hours that's required in order to do that.
I think it's great.
That would be great. And a great class. That's a class I totally would take. I didn't plan on being like a nurse or a doctor, but I would have done that class.
Well, I move to approve the new Prosser High School courses approved by the district's instructional materials committee.
Say that fast twice.
Yeah, can't even say it slow once.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, next on the list, the Yakima Valley Farm Workers Clinic Agreement.
So this is a contract, the Yakima Valley Farm Workers Clinic has a mobile dentist lab. We've worked with them before. What they're asking to do is basically exam students and refer them on if they need dental support. Yeah.
They also do sealing.
Yeah.
We used to have Grinovations, but whoever ran that like retired, so that mobile home went into retirement. So this is an opportunity for us to, and we haven't had that since before COVID.
Do you have to maintain any records, dental records or
It's
anything
all
like
done by
that?
them, just
They
like
do
they're
it all?
going to the dentist.
Do we select kids or is it just whomever?
So we can refer kids, but they'll do exams on all kids and they'll come, and we have it scheduled, they'll come over a series of days to all the different schools.
I don't suppose
And
this is
then
like a
parents do
Saturday
have to
thing.
sign permission for them to do things like get the sealing done.
Okay.
They deal with any, we don't, because it cost us anything, they deal with any of the insurance or Medicaid or whatever they should.
Kids will be pulled out, taken out to,
Yeah, so little class will go, most of my class then will go and we'll go through and they'll get the exam and kind of similar to doing the eye exams, and like you see there's an issue, they make a further referral.
I'll make a motion to approve the Yakima Valley Farm Workers Clinic agreement.
Second.
all right, Gina, you lost,
And I'm
Jason got it.
thankful to our nurses. Honestly, I know they reached out to the principals, but our nurses, Madison and Linda have done the legwork on this, so I appreciate that.
Okay, all in favor of approving the Valley Farm Workers Clinic Agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, next is the resolution. 03-23, the WASDA weighted vote removal. You want to talk about this, Jason, or just
Yeah.
give me go ahead?
I don't have all my notes here, but basically the weighted vote in WASDA. Kind of as a review, each district based on their population gets a certain number of votes. If you're under 2,000, you roughly get 1 vote. If you're over 2,000, then it's kind of a stair step approach. So I think our district, we get 2 votes, and if, depending on who calls the weighted vote and what they're voting on, like Seattle gets 19 votes. So kind of, the reason I brought this forward was that way we can have kind of a fair shake at WASDA and some of their policies and in the direction that governance, I guess, or what they do for lobbying at the legislature.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I know we talked about this, I don't even remember when we talked, it was a couple weeks ago or last
Yeah.
week, I can't remember. But we were also supposed to discuss having a WASDA, like a legislative rep. And I don't know if we can add that now, but it needs to probably be on an agenda soon if it needs to be an agenda item.
Well, I would strongly suggest nobody miss a meeting then, because that's who we'll nominate.
So I think this is in conjunction. If we can take more of a positive or active role in WASDA, I think we can have more, at least state our voice and our opinion on some of their policies.
Well, and I think the discussion was had about trying to round up some of the neighboring schools so we can sort of almost have a coalition. A handful of voices would go a lot farther than just us.
Yeah.
But- So with that said, this is a roll call vote. Jeannie,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Elisa,
Yes.
and Andy's yes. All right, well, that passed wonderfully. So that,
Just real quick, can we make sure that on our next agenda that we actually have that legislative rep? on
Yeah,
the-
especially if
if we have somebody that's willing to volunteer, I mean, it's a done deal. No, I'm literally, because we used to each pick something and
Yeah, anytime a board reorganizes those positions, usually you vote through them. I think the last person who held the position was Jocelyn Cole. And so there are meetings. It's, so you get to orient kind of WASD as an advocacy group, and realizing that school boards, directors are the largest elected body of officials in the state of Washington. And so every year, in fact, I think I sent them this year, they come out with platforms around advocacy. And so you're able to kind of multiply your voice by having some influence on that, knowing that when there's a day on the Hill or whatever, that every single school board is going to rally around that agenda item. The past couple of years, it's been around special ed and kind of in the wake of McCleary. In the shadow of that, like, let's hold the legislature accountable for fully funding special education. There's even, they're trying a case right now around facilities. And the state's paramount duty to fund facilities. I think like Wishram or Wahkiakum or something like this, because they're unable to pass a bond. So, yeah, we can put that on the agenda and we can get the meeting dates and start having an influence in that advocacy, both in Olympia and within WASDA.
Matt, if we're entitled to 2 weighted votes now, does that mean we need to elect 2 people?
They're probably like somebody who can, like a group of 2 people who can make the meetings. That consistency is key. That you can keep up with the conversation. Now, realizing that Puget Sound area has a lot of votes. That the good and the bad in this is that everybody in Washington had a voice, and perhaps Eastern Washington had a little bit more of a robust voice because of the number of small kind of rural communities within that. And so part of this I think it's size matters now. And so knowing that Seattle area now has, or with this, will have a very, very robust voice and dictating policy, kind of not policy, but directions and advocacy.
No, I think this is to remove the weighted vote at WASDA.
Okay.
So currently they have, like
Wait a
Matt
minute.
said, Puget Sound has a significantly larger
Right.
bullhorn than we do.
Right.
This would make us all on the same,
Equal. Yeah, like,
same playing field. And I guess I would, since I brought it up, I would volunteer, but I would need a backup, just in case I couldn't make it. If somebody wants to volunteer for a backup.
okay.
We'll kick that around. All right, guys, so next we're on to the first reading of policy and procedure 2030, service animals in school.
I think it's, with the exception of filling in a few blanks with Prosser School District, I think it's the same as you read before. Are there any new questions or comments?
Nothing? So we're all cool for it to come back a second and final?
Yeah.
There you go.
We need to approve it too.
Oh, we do, don't we? Okay, so all in favor of approving the first reading?
Make a motion to approve the first.
There you go.
Oh, second.
Okay.
We only had to approve the final one.
You have to approve each reading and then it's
Okay,
in action, so.
fair enough. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, so next is the first reading of policy 2402, English language arts mastery-based credit.
Can we do this? Can we do, I have a motion to approve items K, L, and M as a first reading, skip the second reading and bring it back for final approval at the next meeting?
Certainly.
Yeah.
You could actually
Isn't the second
take,
usually the
yeah,
final?
Oh, we don't have to do three?
Like you could skip.
We look at
the
it,
second
it
and
comes
make it
back
final.
once.
You technically could
Yeah.
approve it.
Right now.
That's final. if you
I have
That's
want
one
it.
fine.
question.
How about I revise my motion?
Can I ask one question before you decide that? You guys are planning on awarding one credit,
One.
Okay.
Up to one.
up to one, okay.
Okay, so do you want to revise your
Do,
motion?
let me think about. I move that we accept items K, L, and M as the final reading of those policies, 2402, 2403, and 2404. I'm sorry, I didn't think of that for the poor dog.
And Jeannie was a second. All right, so everybody heard it. Are we all in favor of that? Please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So those are done. Holy moly. I'll be darned, that's the end. All right, reports. Business manager.
So I've got the financial reports on there. And you know, are there any questions?
I have a question. So we had 33 new to the district. Do we attribute that to anything?
So there, on the enrollment report, there was the breakdown of like, you know, new to the district and much, but we also have the kindergarten, the transitional kindergarten that started in, January. They didn't start by the enrollment date, so then we caught them up for February, and then this was the first month we actually were able to get them in on time for the enrollment. So we had to have a revised for February, but that's why you're seeing that larger jump. It's 18 kids for that.
Fair enough.
So it
Which
is
of
good. Our
course
numbers
leaves
are up.
15.
It's up.
So we have 18 kids that went into transitional.
Started, yeah. Mhm.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong sheet. Never mind.
So when we report them under enrollment, it's gonna be under kindergarten. It's all gonna all be lumped together with kindergarten. But that's why you're seeing that jump in numbers, is actually the transitional kindergarten. From this point on, you'll see them under kindergarten. Is that?
Any other,
I only see 6, but maybe I'm looking at the wrong. Am I looking at the right sheet? No, that looks like-
Let's see.
See 6 in this one?
Is this the sheet that you're referring to?
Yes.
So that's changes to the district. So that was something, I guess, we didn't catch it because it wasn't there.
It's really
Yeah,
21, right? It's
Well,
not really fast, but you're
the change
behind.
was actually in February. So because we, honestly, we missed it. We missed it when we did the enrollment for February, so then we did a revise for February. And so it wasn't a change from February to March. So that's why you're not seeing the change.
Thank you.
anything else on the enrollment? Anything on the financials that were questions or comments? Oh, almost.
Yeah, you almost got away. I'm gonna get back there.
We will be getting property tax money soon, so our fund balance will start to increase.
Almost.
Yeah, no,
Okay. No, but I'm good, thank you.
If you do have any questions later, I'd be happy to.
What'd you say, Jeannie?
Oh, I was wondering if Deanna could tell us how the transitional kindergarten is going. It's her baby. She was excited.
They're so cute. Really cute. It's
Then they
going
grow
really-
up.
It's going, they are really cute. All those kids at Riverview, they're really cute. It's going really well because we have Malia, who's a great teacher, and Jesse has been a great support. They have a really good para with them as well, who's experienced, that came here from the West Valley School District, who had moved here but was commuting and wanted to come and work in Prosser. So they're doing very well. She had to do training again, but she really had all the training for the curriculum and everything in the assessment that she just had to do it again because it was required. But it's going really well. There's of course some challenges because you have kids coming in who've never been in any formal preschool before, but that's the reason we have it. So they get more experience. For those of you that were at the presentation last night, you saw how many kids we had coming ready for kindergarten this year, 16.3%. So that's to help combat that. We've already put out enrollment. The enrollment is open for next year. For new students, kinder, and for any parent who has a current existing student, they just need to update their paperwork. And there's actually an option to go into kinder enrollment, or there's a form if your child's 3 or 4. Oh, I guess I'll keep talking about it.
Actually, it is your time.
Let's keep rolling right into my thing. I
How
wasn't
about it?
gonna talk very much today, but we are partnering. So the ESD 123 has ECAP here, so we partnered. We're putting out one form for interest. So that then we're gonna work together as partners to determine where we're gonna place students. And we'll see how many kids we have. There was already 15 kids in there like the first day it was out. And some of those are 3-year-olds and some of those are 4-year-olds, but I'm still pretty confident we're gonna fill 2 classes and maybe talk about another one if that's the case.
Is
So.
this an A&P scenario or?
Nope, it's
Okay.
full day. And so it's very attractive for parents. Our current ECAP goes 4 days a week. So I think they're considering changing that because they know it'd be hard for a parent to opt to, or to be in ECAP if they could be in five days a week. So it's a bit of a challenge. It's hard on the buses because the kids are young and little and they started mid-year versus having kind of a rolling start like we normally do, but he's great. So it all works out and yeah, it's great. Jesse's there for Malia when she needs it, and Malia is not afraid to ask if she needs some help or needs something. So she's great. The only other thing I have is just to remind folks to be at the high school on Saturday at 8:45. If you can't be there till later, it's fine. Roll in when you can. I know you're working.
You have to be 5 on September 1st for kindergarten.
You have to be 5, that September 1st is the magic day for everything. So if you're 3 or 4 on September 1st, then you can apply for the early learning. And if you're 5, then you can go to kindergarten. Now, this, you cannot, for both ECAP and transitional kinder, you cannot opt your kids out of going to kinder and hold them out a year and put them in one of those programs. It's not allowed. So we don't accept like kids that are 1 year older, so they could be in kindergarten, but they choose not to. So we try to be really clear, but when you put those birth dates out there and all that time, it gets confusing really fast. So yes, September 1st is the magic day for everything.
Cool. All right, any questions for Deanna? All right, Matt, you're up. What do you got?
Just a few things, actually. So Brian talked about our continued work, on trying to get to an agreement. There was only a couple things that we had to kind of finesse. We've been working in tandem with Lee Marquisio out of Foster Garvey. This week I was able to look at, kind of explore a supplemental curriculum with Rick Follett. It was It's developed by Mike Rowe, the TV guy that does Dirty Jobs, and it's around work ethic. Trying to get, instill a strong work ethic in kids, and so part of that is that, the curriculum itself is, what they call the sweat pledge. Skills and work ethic aren't taboo. So we're looking into that. The startup cost isn't very much, but the natural kind of work in would be CTE and talking about how work ethic, punctuality, reliability, and dependability do make a difference in the, workforce. I want to commend Deanna for her work last night with the strategic planning. And I know that we're gonna have great conversations on Saturday. That whole strategic planning conversation will fold into larger discussions on budget, levy, and staffing and planning for next year. So as we're starting to frame that conversation, know that that strategic plan does have implications for directionally where we're trying to go as a district. And that it'll be continued to be brought back up about how are we meeting the needs of the district once we've defined them. I do wanna, last week, since we had a work session, I was unable to point this out and thank the people who were involved, but last week was education support professionals week. And we're talking about all the people who are responsible for maintaining buildings, grounds, preparing and serving meals, keeping books, and just helping the system run. And so I want to give a shout out to all those employees. Oftentimes they're in the PSC union, but not always, because they help make the district go. So we really appreciate your work and your efforts. Yeah, we thank you. And then the last piece was, I'm continuing to work with different labor partners, and negotiating. The summer typically is a time where there are openers for different bargaining units as well. But yeah, you can expect to see some of those coming to the district for secretaries as well as athletic coaches in the near future.
Thank you. Board reports. Jeannie, you got anything?
Yeah, right before I left on vacation, I attended the CLAC meeting. These are fun, and this was a great one. They had wonderful resources for all the families and anybody that was there. I think really thought it was good. Went and saw the play, She Kills Monsters, here at the high school. You could tell those kids were having a ball. It was pretty cute. This afternoon, I sat in on the interviews for the substitute security guards. We interviewed two. Lynn was there, and Pat and Scott, and we'll look forward to what they recommend. I wanted to say thank you to DECA. They had prom dressers downstairs today, and any girl could come in and get a prom dress for 3 cans of food. That's a good deal in anybody's book. And I'm looking forward to the strategic plan Saturday. I think it'll be interesting. Yeah. That's it.
Peggy?
I want to thank Deanna again for the strategic plan that we did on last night, the first night of the strategic plan. I was very impressed with the turnout. We had a great turnout of community members, and the range was from young parents to the older folks that live in our community. We had just a nice balance of folks. And I'm looking forward to Saturday. Got my lawn chair ready, and my comfortable clothes ready, and I'm ready for a long day on Saturday, but I think it should be really good. And then I understand that this week is classified employee week. And I just wanted to go on record with saying how much I appreciate all of the staff that we have here at Prosser. They do a wonderful job, but I really wanted to say a special thank you to our classified employees. We couldn't run the district without the folks that work so diligently behind the scenes to make sure that, everything runs smoothly every single day for our students. From the bus drivers to food services, to the maintenance crews, to the folks that work in the classrooms with the kids. Just, you all do such a terrific job, and I just want to say thank you. I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you, Peggy. Anything, Jason?
Not at this time, thank you.
Lisa?
Oh, sure, and a couple things. I noticed the middle school is, okay, you had choir. Choir kids went to state, Wish is going to state, and you had kids that place in the science fair. So I just thought the middle school has just been in the news for all kinds of great things. I wanted to congratulate Mr. Denny for that. Our next meeting is April 12th. That's after spring break. So we're gonna have a report that all the work is done at Heights and at King Riverview. I'm hoping, because that's what they said at the last construction update, that everything was gonna be done during spring break.
I will keep my fingers crossed.
I think we all should.
We should.
I think we should. Okay.
Just don't invest all of your savings in that.
I never do. Not in one place. At our last board meeting and in light of what happened at the middle school, with the fake bomb threats and the shooter, we discussed that we don't have an emergency plan in this district. That's required. There's an RCW that requires it. That needs to be on our next work session. It needs to be in our next board packet. We absolutely have to have an emergency plan. My understanding is that one was drafted in 2019 and it just never went forward for approval. So we can't continue to be out of compliance with that. That needs to be addressed. So I would ask to Andy to please make sure that that gets on for discussion and to look at. My last request is, could we please arrange for an update on the new music curriculum and how it's
I
going?
have that on my calendar to do in April. To have at the first board meeting in April, so I have a little tickle reminder in there actually for next week to prep it for the board meeting after break, so. Because you guys asked me back in the fall to do it in this break.
Thank you. And I thought the strategic planning orientation last night was great. I'd like us all to remind each other, we need to make sure that we're introducing everybody to each other. You know, we're all in Prosser, we all think we all know each other, but if you're a mom of a little kid, you don't know that Mr. Bailey is the high school principal and Mr. Denny. So I don't know if we need bigger name tags, but just make sure that
Totally.
we're going through the whole process. Hi, how are you? Do the whole, do it with your neighbor you've known since first grade, but make sure that we're not being clicky. Thank you. That's it.
So I'm gonna start off with apologizing, Deanna, for not being there last night. I forgot. I literally put 2 reminders in my phone like 5 minutes ago for Friday night and Saturday morning. So I won't forget twice. Next, we did discuss the emergency plan at the last safety meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Actually made quite a bit of progress. The security guys had all seen it. It was going to the building admin and they were gonna.
met today.
Okay.
They actually met this morning and I was with them for the first hour and then I had to leave, but they were trying to get to a final product that they were trying to work to refine it to make it more a little more user friendly for staff because and find some ways to make it easier for people to use it. It could be possible that maybe we'll pulling out some parts for like a little set of cards or something by the door might be the best option for teachers because they need very simple and to the point because when you're in a stressful situation, well, you're really usually going to a flip chart, to be honest. But I wasn't there at the end. Michael, will you guys have a little Jody to get to resolution?
We spent about 5.5 hours working on it today.
Did you? Wow.
We got more to do on it.
Okay.
We're still trying to
Plug it away.
make it all match.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess the Reader's Digest version is it's up and moving again, and the hope was a couple, 3 weeks down the road, we'll have something in front of us. So,
That is great.
and that was really all I had. Wasn't all that interesting. Which leaves, the next regular board meeting is April 12th, 6 o'clock right here. Let's go home and eat dinner, guys. Meeting adjourned.
It's like that.
There.
Oh, we're.